بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد.
So we have our fiqh class still talking about salah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. And inshallah today we have wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have an important class. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. We're going to be discussing inshallah Salatul-Musafir. Many people ask questions about the traveler's prayer. And when do we do jama', when do we do qasr, when do we combine, when do we shorten the prayer? Inshallah, it will be an important class if Allah wills, inshallah. Before that, we have just a few things to mention. How do we pray in case, God forbid, we were sick? Salatul-Marid, the prayer of the sick. We mentioned before, whoever has any kind of sickness and they cannot perform maybe some parts of the salah correctly, they do it to the best of their ability. So, and this is important for us to know. The best of your ability means if you cannot stand straight like a normal, healthy person, then you can, if you can stand kind of bent down, then you should do that. If you can, as close as you can do it to the norm, you should do it. So in some people, what they do, they cannot stand straight, but they can stand a little bit bent down, or they can stand on a cane or something, but instead they sit down immediately. That's not right. If you can stand with the help of a cane or leaning on a walker or doing something like that, then you should do it. You should not sit unless you cannot stand at all. You try to perform the prayer as close as it can be to a normal, healthy person praying. You cannot skip stages. So you are tired, you cannot stand for long. Start the prayer standing up. When you get tired, you sit on the chair. Don't start by sitting on the chair. You see a lot of people come inside the masjid and they walk. They walk normally. And they stand and they talk to somebody else for 5-10 minutes, no problem. When the prayer starts, they sit. And they have all the energy to talk, but they have no energy to stand for the prayer. That's not right. Imran ibn Husayn, radiyallahu anhu, he says, pray while standing. If you couldn't, stand at all, then sit. If you couldn't even sit, then on your side. So there is no excuse not to pray. Even if a person, and again, may Allah protect us and keep us always healthy, if a person cannot, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, cannot move at all, just only his head, he has to pray with his head. He will be doing the movement with his head. So, he will be reading like this, and then this is ruku', and this is sujood. Again, may Allah save us from that. And we have, again, to be thankful to Allah, because there are a lot of people who are in situations like that. They cannot move. And there is, again, no excuse to miss a prayer, missing a prayer. And we see people who are healthy, mashallah, they don't have any problem, and they still don't pray. And this is really strange, subhanallah. Now we're going to start an important chapter, Salatul-Musafir, the prayer of the traveler. So number one, Qasr al-Salah, to shorten your prayer. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam always shortened his prayer in travel, always, which makes it a sunnah. So if somebody is traveling and they do not shorten their prayer is valid, but they get less reward for praying full. And imagine you pray Zuhr 4 rak'ah when you're traveling, you get less reward than praying it 2. Because when you pray it 2, you're following the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're just talking about the meaning of shortening the prayer. Shortening the prayer is to pray Zuhr 2 rak'ah instead of 4, and Asr 2 rak'ah instead of 4. Fajr and Maghrib cannot be shortened. So Fajr will always be 2 and Maghrib will always be 3. Those do not change. So I was saying that one time Umar radiallahu anhu was traveling with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the Prophet told him, we're going to shorten the prayer. And Umar said, but I'm not tired. I can pray normally. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, no, you follow me and you shorten the prayer. So the Islam is not about what you think and what makes sense to you. It's about following sami'na wa ata'na. So if the Prophet ﷺ said, when you're traveling, shortening the prayer is better, then you do as he said. It doesn't matter if you're tired or not. So this is the thing. Jazakallah khairan, Abdul Rahim. Now, in terms of what is a traveler? The traveler is someone who leaves his house with the intention of going over 40 miles. So the distance is 40 miles. And the type of travel can be anything. So basically, the example Zubair gave about that person who works downtown, he is a traveler, even if he works there. As long as he covers that distance, then he is a traveler.
That's what he stated, that it was slightly over 40 miles. So he was like, oh, I'm traveling. So he would pray Zuhr as 2 rakats, and he would just go back, and I would be like, well, I'm going to stand up and finish my 2 extra
He is a
rakats.
traveler because he covered that distance, and he did not stay there more than 4 days. So again, we're going to cover some situations, and if I miss anything, feel free to ask, inshallah. Traveling for something that is allowed. What does that mean? If you're traveling to do something that's not halal, you cannot do qasr, obviously. You cannot shorten the prayer. Now, somebody would say, but how can someone travel for something that is not halal and then he cares about praying to begin with? Sometimes merchants, they travel to sell their merchandise. They cheat and they lie and they do interest and they do all the haram things in the world. So those cannot do qasr. If they want to pray, if we assume they want to pray, they cannot do shortening, even if the distance is more than 40 miles. So by definition, for you to shorten the prayer because you are a traveler, you have to go over that distance, traveling for something that is halal. What is the halal travel? If you're going there for work, that's halal. What about a picnic? Halal. Obviously, of course, Hajj and Jihad for sure, or visiting a friend, visiting family, all these things are halal.
Those people who travel far to work at a gas station and they sell, everything there. So you're saying their prayer has to be the full one because that's not halal business.
If you are traveling to do something haram, you cannot shorten the prayer.
Aha.
Yeah, assuming that you pray. Yeah.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah, but maybe somebody will say, I am already doing something haram. Let's not do double haram. Let me at least, there are not too many sins. Let me pray. So we tell him, okay, at least you're doing something haram, but you have to pray normal prayer because you are not traveling in a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows or pleases. Now, what if you're traveling and you're spending more than 4 days? Then you do not shorten the prayer, according to most of the scholars. Even though the duration can vary according to different madhahib, but the jumhur go with 4 days, which means if your intention was to stay more than 4 days, you can shorten the prayer on the way. So, and again, this is a common mistake people make. I think it is important for me to cover here. You are not a traveler per se until you leave the city limit which you live in. Some people think as soon as you walk out of the door, you are a traveler. Or some people think as long as I have the intention of traveling, I am a traveler. That's not the Jumhur. The majority of scholars, and like you know me, I like to go with the Jumhur, with the majority of scholars. They say you are not a traveler until you leave the city limit of wherever you live. Why is that important? Sometimes, and the question I think came up before, you are planning to travel and your flight is after Asr Adhan. So people ask, can I do Dhuhr and Asr at home? Because I am going to travel and at Asr time I'll be in the airport. You are not a traveler until you leave your city limit. So once you are out of your city, then now you are a traveler.
Is that valid on the way back too?
On the way back too.
It's valid the same way. Once you inside your city, then
once you enter the city, then you're not a traveler anymore.
Brother, yeah, but you would read the Salatul-Musafir prior to departing your house, right? You're not going to pray it at the city limit, right? The moment you're about to step out of your house and your intention is to go for a 3-hour, 5-hour trip, you're going to pray Salatul-Musafir prior to you having your flight delay and all of those things, right?
You don't pray it, you are not a traveler until you leave the city limit. Even if your intention is to travel, you're not a traveler until you leave.
So when would you read Salatul-Musafir? For example, if the airport from me is, let's say, 15 miles away, I get on the plane. The moment I pass, let's say, 40 miles or it takes flight, then I would read Salatul-Musafir, or?
Yeah, you are not a Musafir until the airplane basically departs. As long as the airplane is still in the airport, then you are still in the city. All right. Now, if you're planning to stay for more than 4 days, like I said, then you are not a traveler as soon as you reach your destination. So you are a traveler as soon as you leave the city limit, and you are not a traveler as soon as you reach your destination. If you are planning to stay more than 4 days. If you're planning to stay less than 4 days, then you can shorten the prayer throughout the safar until you go back. What if and this is going to cover why the Prophet ﷺ shortened the prayer for 19 days in Mecca. If you go to a place and you do not know how long you're going to stay there, like I came to a city because I have some paperwork. I have to go to some places and I have to get some documents done and some signatures and stuff. I don't know how long this is going to take me. It could take me a couple days or it could take me a whole week. As long as you are in a place and you do not know how long you have to stay, so you come to a place for a need, and this need might end in 1 day or a week or a month. You do not know. Then you can shorten the prayer throughout. If you are uncertain, you do not know how long, as soon as you're done with your need, you are going back home, then you are a traveler throughout the time. That's why the Prophet ﷺ stayed in Mecca until he knew it was time to leave. So he wasn't planning to stay there for 19 days. That's why he shortened the prayer for 19 days. He was not planning to stay originally for 19 days. So he shortened the prayer because he was not sure about when was he going to be leaving the place. In case you travel to a place and you got stuck because of the weather, your flight was canceled or delayed, again, you are a traveler until you go back home. So anything that keeps you from going back home and it's not under your control, like you have something you need to be done before you go back, or again, the weather, or God forbid, they put you in jail for some reason. And I was just giving examples. Then you are a traveler and you get to shorten the prayer. When do you not shorten the prayer and you are no longer a traveler? Number one, and this is the question about the imam. If you are praying behind a local imam, then you follow the imam. You cannot shorten the prayer. Yani the imam is local, he's normally praying Zuhr 4 rakat. You can't stop after 2 and the imam continues and you say Assalamu alaikum and you just leave in the middle of the prayer. You can't do that. You follow the imam. If the imam is local and you are a traveler, you follow the imam. If the imam was traveler and you are local, then you complete 4. The imam will do 2, but he will make an announcement before the prayer. Oh, people, I am a traveler. I'm going to pray 2, so confusion will be avoided, inshallah.
Brother, yeah, I had a question.
Yes.
So if you join a salah in a local masjid, they're reading 4 rakah, and you join as a musafir in the 3rd rakah of, let's say, Zuhr or Asr or Isha, would you just finish your 2?
No, you do 4.
You do 4?
You do 4. You follow the imam. The imam did 4, you do 4, even if you missed it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the imam did 4, you do 4. Same as if you joined from the beginning. Same thing, no difference.
Okay. But I know it's if you are a musafir and you're leading the prayer, then the people behind you, they stand up and finish 4, correct?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
The people who are local will have to pray normally, and the imam can shorten the prayer, but that normally can create confusion. So it's according to Shafi'i, the imam in this situation does not shorten the prayer, even if he was a traveler, to avoid the confusion. All right. If you're not sure, so you enter the masjid, you are a traveler, but you do not know if the imam is a traveler or not. What do? You entered the masjid, the prayer already started, you can't ask. And you do not know if the imam is a traveler or a local. What do you do?
Just follow
You follow the imam.
Okay, and then the imam, but you have to have an intention. You follow the imam, but what is your intention? You're praying 2 or 4?
4. 4, because you're following the imam, so it should be 4. Or
What if the imam was traveler?
still you have to follow him.
No, actually, that's not how it is. If you enter the masjid and the prayer has already started, and you do not know if the imam is local or a traveler, your intention is to pray full. If the imam turns out to be a traveler, you complete your 4. So, no, I'm saying he already started. So you entered the masjid, prayer already started. So you missed, you don't know if the imam is a traveler or not. Even if you are a traveler, you have to pray fully. You pray 4. Okay? And of course, so let's say you're traveling to a country, like you're going to Pakistan, you're going to Lala Musa or Lahore, and your intention was to stay there for 4 days, and you say after like a couple days, you say, you know what, I like this place. I'm going to stay here. I want to live here. Then obviously you're not a traveler anymore. If your intention changes, in case that happens.
But yeah, if how long until like, for example, if you don't have an intention for traveling, or like, for example, for staying long term, how long by default you automatically change into that? Like, for example, I'm traveling And I was like, oh, I'm not planning on staying in the US too long. 1 month passes, 2 month passes. Oh, I'm going to travel back. I'm going to travel back.
What is holding you? That's the question.
I don't know. It could be a contract. It could be trying to find a job. I'm here for a
If
visit.
it's out of your control, even if it can be months, doesn't matter. You're still a traveler. If it's out of your control, then you are a traveler. If it's not out of your control, you just enjoy chilling because you're enjoying it. That's not because, see, when you are being held by something, you're looking for a job, you are trying to get something done, you do not know how long it's going to take, then it can be there is no limitation. You are a traveler. Sometimes you travel and you think I can get this done couple days, and then subhanallah, something happens and you get stuck. I actually met a young man the other day. He came from Palestine. His father works here in the United States, and the rest of his family, his mother and his siblings, are all in Palestine. So he came to visit his father. When he came before the war started in Palestine now. And now he got stuck here. He cannot go back because of the war. No airports and nothing. So he is a traveler. He's been here for like 7 months because it's not up to him. As soon as the airports are functional, he will go back. So when you are held by something that's not your control, you can't, because you're waiting for something so you can go back, then you are a traveler. If it's up to you, I can go back whenever I want, then you are not a traveler.
This one.
Yeah.
For example, my house is in Lahore, and I'm going to Islamabad, and I have a house over there, but I'm going over there for 2 days, 3 days.
Still a traveler.
Even my house is there.
Yeah, because you're staying for a short time.
Yeah.
So it's your house, but you're not staying there for a long time.
Sheikh, what if you were supposed to shorten your prayer, Zuhr or Asr, while you were a traveler, but when the plane lands, the time for prayer has passed? Do you redo a shortened prayer or full prayer?
You are talking about destination home or destination away from home?
Home.
So you arrived at home now. Then you pray what you missed fully. You are not traveler anymore. See the main logic, you are shortening the prayer because travel is normally difficult and it has its own hardships, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make it easier for us. So when you are at home now back, there is no reason to try to shorten the prayer. You missed prayers in the travel, you redo them fully, not shortening.
You said if your intention is to stay longer than 4 days, you say you are not a traveler. For example, I go somewhere, some other country to visit my relatives, and my intention was to stay like 2 months. Should I make it shorten or should I pray full?
You pray full. On the way you can shorten, on the way you are a traveler. So in the airplane and you are switching airports and whatnot, then you are a traveler. As soon as you reach your destination, then you are not a traveler.
Okay, you say like the guy, he stays 7 months, but still he is a traveler. I go there for 2 months, but I'm not a traveler.
Yeah, because he stayed here 7 months because he cannot go back. He wants to go back, but he cannot go back. There is no airport. The airport is closed because of the war. You can go back anytime you want.
Okay.
What I'm saying, again, I'll say it again. When you are held against your will because of something that's not under your control, then you are a traveler. So you're visiting your family, you already plan to stay a month or 2, and you're going back home. Wa alaikum salam. Jazakallah. Then you're not a traveler. But you're going to, let's say you go to visit your family and you're planning to stay for a few days, 3-4 days. and then something happened, way bad weather, canceled flight, and you got stuck. You want to come back, but you cannot come back. Then you are a traveler. That is the difference. We did not talk about combining the prayers yet, by the way. Shortening and combining are not the same. Some people think anytime I shorten, I can combine. That's not true. So not every time you shorten, you can combine. Yes.
When you if you like the sister, she said 2 months. Some people, they say, oh, if you travel, you can just do the wajib prayers. You don't have to do the sunnahs.
No, you have to do the sunnahs, the same. Why not? Even if you're traveling and you are, of course, 2 months, we said you're not going to shorten the prayer, you pray normally. But even if you're praying, you're going for 4 days and you're shortening the prayer, or even combining and shortening, you still can pray the sunnah. This is a different thing. Any other questions?
Combine the prayer. Do you pray witr for Isha? Or just the first?
You do witr too.
Witr too? Okay.
Yes.
But I'm not sure the authenticity of that hadith, but I heard that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he only prayed for Fajr to raka'ah sunnah in the witr only on Safar.
Yeah, that because those are the most important, but you can do the rest of the sunnahs, that's not a problem. Those are important to do, but if you want to do more, it's fine. There is nothing wrong with that.
But what about those flights where they're international and like the whole day is covered in 5 hours? Like how do you pray when like the time zones are skipping? Like
you go with your city of departure.
Okay.
So you live in Houston and your watch is Houston time. So you keep looking at your watch, and if you were in Houston, now it's time for the next prayer, you pray accordingly until you land. Yeah. Any other questions? Brother Munib, if you want to unmute yourself. Wa alaykum salam wa rahmatullah.
How does it work when Imam shorten prayer, but the people behind have to do their 4 rakats? Does somebody take his space, or does somebody lead the prayer, or how does it work?
No. When the Imam is a traveler, he will make an announcement and say, people, I am traveling. So please, if you are local, if you're not traveling there, then complete your prayer, which means he prays 2 rak'ah for Zuhr, for example. He will say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The Imam is done. Those who are local, they're not traveling, they will stand up and they will do by themselves 2 more rak'ah. Everybody by themselves. Nobody will take his place. So the Imam will leave, he's done because he's a traveler, but the people behind him will stay, will continue their prayer.
Jazakallah khair.
Allah iyaakum, inshallah.